Alright, so here's the third and final video in this animated story saga. They've been doing well on the channel recently. The stories in this video are the stupidest yet. Also, the surf gameplay is old and bad. I'm trying to use it up and I almost beat Mesa, but I'm sure nobody cares. Just play it.
So you can imagine how excited I was when my dad gave me a metal detector for Christmas. I immediately grabbed a shovel and ran into our forest here in Poland. It took me less than 4 hours to dig up my first treasure. It was a rusted machine gun from the Second World War.
As you can tell, we're starting off strong with the fake stories. I refuse to believe that you found a World War II machine gun underground 4 hours after getting a metal detector for your birthday.
After I did some research, I learned that it was a PPD-40 and used by the Soviet Union during World War II. Of course, my mom was shocked when I showed it to her, but my dad laughed and said it was cool, and he encouraged me to continue my hobby.
If you find a machine gun with a metal detector and showed your dad, would your dad just chuckle or freak out? Yeah, very realistic.
Well, that's exactly what I did for the next few years. Whenever I had free time, I would wander through our beautiful forest searching for new treasures. And after a year, I had my first big discovery. It was a very old helmet.
Okay, so you have the odds to get hit by a jumbo jet, survive, roll off a cliff and survive, and then win the lottery. More likely than finding this.
I immediately took it to a museum in our city for an inspection. When they saw it, their eyes lit up. But then they took the helmet away from me and said that archaeological treasures found in Poland belong to the state. To be honest, I'm not sure if what they said was true, but I felt like they had stolen my helmet from me. That day, I swore to myself that the next time I found a treasure, I would keep it to myself and sell it on the black market. Because, as I later found out, the helmet I had found was worth at least $20,000 US.
Yay, more fake and useless stuff to stretch the video out. This has nothing to do with you getting $50 million at age 15. It has to do with you being salty about your little treasure.
It was a Roman auxiliary helmet in a really good condition.
Oh, look, the animator made him dab. So funny.
And recently, a similar helmet was sold for 300,000 USD. So you can imagine how angry I was, especially because the helmet was never displayed in that museum, which means they had probably sold my helmet on the black market to get rich themselves. For the next few years, I had little to no luck. I mean, yeah, I found hundreds of grenades and rusty machine guns.
It's hard for me to criticize these videos anymore because it's all just fake stuff to stretch the video out, so I'll skip ahead.
It was 2 days after my 15th birthday when my metal detector started beeping like crazy. And it wasn't just beeping at one point, but it was beeping over an area of at least 2 square meters. I wasn't sure what was laying under me, but I knew it was something very big. So I took my shovel and started digging. I remember hitting against something. At first, I was scared. It could have been a mine, but I could feel that it wasn't metallic. After a few more seconds of digging, I realized that it was a big pot. It was very big and heavy and kinda ugly.
So apparently this is the luckiest 15-year-old of all time. The first thing he did after the story was to get Share My Story to make a video about it, or Share My Story might have just made this whole thing up.
But why was my metal detector been beeping if there wasn't any metal? It took me a few seconds to realize that something was inside the pot. So I started pulling the dirt out of the opening of the pot. It didn't take long until I saw something golden. And trust me, I had waited years to find something golden. It were coins. Lots of coins.
Alright, dude, I'm done. This is the fakest story of all time. We would have heard this in the news. 15-year-old boy finds gold coins with metal detector underground. I don't know who Share My Story thinks they're fooling. Anyways, the next story is about some girl who's apparently allergic to the sunlight. Yeah, I don't know, just play it.
I can still remember how much I loved building sandcastles and playing with those cute little crabs.
Dude, the crab's literally crying because you're poking it with a stick.
However, one day, I suddenly felt dizzy and noticed that I was completely covered in rashes and hives. I got scared and ran to my mom to tell her that something was wrong. However, my throat was so swollen that I couldn't even speak. My parents saw that I was suffocating and rushed me to the hospital. Luckily, the doctors were able to save my life. But a few hours later, I got diagnosed with solar urticaria, or sun allergy.
Okay, so apparently this is a real disease, so the story might not be fake, but it's share my story, so it probably is fake.
It means that whenever UV light rays hit my skin, I get rashes that burn like fire. To make things worse, my sun allergy is so extreme that I can't leave the house unless it's nighttime, or unless I'm wearing a big sweatshirt that covers all of my skin. You can imagine how my whole life changed in an instant. The worst thing was going to school because all my classmates could play on the schoolyard while I had to stay inside my classroom with the curtains closed.
So I've seen these animated channels make other stories like I'm allergic to drinking water, so they probably just looked up water allergy or sun allergy and actually found something and made up a story about it. That's my guess, but I really don't know.
More. I also had nightmares where I tried to run away from the sun, but it would follow me into our basement. Once the sun rays hit me, rashes would form on my arms, with blue slime coming out of them, and then I would slowly melt like a snowman on a beach.
Okay, this is weird. If you're allergic to peanuts, I'm not worried about a little peanut man chasing you around and like killing you or something. I don't understand why they have nightmares about the sun chasing them around a desert or whatever.
But most of the time I spent laying in bed crying and wondering if any guy would ever be willing to date a misfit like me. I was about to give up on life, but then my brother had his 13th birthday. My parents asked him if he had any wishes, and he said his only wish was to go back to the beach. My parents got mad at him and told him to be considerate of my sun allergy and to stop talking about the beach. But he started crying, pointed at me, and said I was an evil vampire that was scared of the sun and tried to suck the blood out of our family.
Alright, dude, I'm done. This is the fakest story of all time. All these stories are fake and stretched out with a bunch of useless facts. It's probably the last time I'll talk about these stories unless someone in the comments requests that I do more. Since I have new viewers now, I'll make a quick update, which is that my next 3 videos will be What Happened to C-Day, an NA Productions content critic, and a Morgs content cop. I also want to thank Lord Kotal, I'm Dougie, and Felix for leaving comments on the other animated story videos. But on that note, I'm gonna head out. Peace.